What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast. I am your host, Chris Raybon. It's NFL Week 3, and we got your Sunday six-pack coming up. We'll talk best bets, sides, totals, props, moneyline dogs, some anytime touchdowns. And of course, I'm here to do it with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation. Off to a nice start this year. Stuck, what's going on?
Going on? Yeah, decent week on the show, but rough week overall on my sides. Just at the start of the year, no joy. I always talk about just you have those joyous moments. Like last year was just one of those years where nothing joyous happened. I had the Texans. I had the Texans in Survivor. I had the
uh,
Texans to close out a round robin. I had Texans minus 2.5. Not saying, and 2 weeks in a row, the Bucks go down and score on the last possession to beat me. Uh, 4th and 10, you have a free sack and you just whiff. That was brutal. The Chiefs. It's the exact game that I thought it was going to be. Eagles can't do anything except play rugby. Couldn't do anything on offense, and the Chiefs did just enough on offense. But Travis Kelce has a play that's worth negative 7.5 points, and drops the potential game-winning touchdown. Reed got outcoached in that game too. I mean, the field goal decisions, the fourth down decisions, it was pretty poor. But obviously, you're not going to overcome Kelsey dropping that and it falling right into the Eagles' hands. So some tough breaks, but it was even out over time. It's on to week 3. As always, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Week 3 is always fun because you kind of got an overreaction, a doubled up overreaction week. So we'll get right into it here. Stuck, you're up 8-5, 2 points for our first two sides, a point for our third, a point for our total in the next segment, and then you get a bonus if you sweep all of those. So caught up a little bit, got some work to do. I'll start us off here.
I did get lucky on that Ravens total, by the way.
Devontae Walker with 2 touchdowns on, and that could, I mean, Lamar Jackson's just ridiculous. So
Do you want
I
to
don't
do? Do
even
you
know
want
if
to do
we're
Thursday
going
night
to.
football before or after 6 o'clock?
Yeah. Talk to me about Thursday Night Football real quick because 12 and a half for Miami at Buffalo. Division game. I know it's short week. It's a short week, but that just seems like a ton. But at the same time, we've seen the Bills blow people out, and we've seen Miami kind of not really get out of this just unmitigated disaster that they looked like they were going to be. So, are you trying to catch a falling knife here, or what are you doing?
I mean, I said I would not try to bet Miami, but I might here. I mean, I may get like 10-7, and the Bills might. I got to see the Miami injuries. Waddle popped up. I don't know. Like, so they're hurt. Their line stinks. Their secondary stinks. But the Bills might be without 3 of their best defenders. Now, last week against you had the Jets in the six pack. I played the Jets. We had 7 and close 5.5. Technically on the spreadsheet, it's a really good bet. But the Bills had an amazing game plan. The Jets did not. They were just run blitzing, filling everything. The Jets couldn't do anything. And then I don't know why the Jets were playing cover one on every key down against playing cover one man against Allen. You never do that. Anyway, but this week the Dolphins, all they're doing because their secondary is so bad is blitzing. And that is the only way you can ever stop Allen. Blitz, play zone on the back end. I mean, if you go back, Allen 2023, if you look like DVOA and EPA, he was ninth versus the blitz, third when not. 2023, he was 34th and 25th versus the blitz, second when not. He's over the last 3 seasons, he's 23rd in completion percentage against the blitz, which is like near the bottom of the league among qualified quarterbacks. So that's the Dolphins' only hope here. They're still not getting pressure, but you just got to blitz. If you just sit back, he's gonna find receivers. He's gonna run like you. And the Dolphins aren't getting that much pressure anyway. You can't rely on that. You got to blitz, try to force him into a mistake, force him into a crazy throw. And I don't know. The Dolphins' offense has enough juice where the Bills just can't sell out against the run like they did against Fields. You know, you have A Chain, and as long as Waddle and Hill are playing, like they can spread them out. They should be able to run a little bit. And the offense came to life last week. I do worry about the offensive line, but seems a little high. And as you mentioned before, and this will be a lead in into the six pack, week 3, one of my favorite weeks. It's all about the underdogs. It's all you would be better off. And we did this. I fell into the trap with the Jets last week. Now, granted, part of that was the Bills' injuries, and we closed good, but it ended up being a bad bet. If you would be better off just going into a coma for the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, and then betting week 3 without looking back at anything and just using your numbers that you had, a lot of the times you'd be better off uh, instead of like overreacting to what you saw. Week 3 underdogs, 55% historically. 0-2 underdogs since 2010, 40, 21, and 1, 66% against the spread, covering by about a field goal per game. we'll mention a bunch of these trends throughout. You don't want to follow them blindly. Like, for example, I don't want any part of the Panthers this week.
No.
Often two more guys on the offensive line. The Falcons should run all over them. They're not going to get pressure. The Falcons are actually getting pressure now, so like that's one that I cross off. But there's a bunch that I'll be looking to buy on. Trying to buy low and sell high. Some of these teams in the market overreactions. So yeah, let's. I do lean Dolphins, and I mean back doors could be wide open here as well. But want to get final injury reports. So stay tuned to the app.
Yeah, the Dolphins defense, you just got to be able to score with Buffalo. That's how you're going to cover this number.
Well, you just blitz and hope to like force a turnover. That's their stop. Like you just sell out. You're gonna have to keep up with them, but you blitz, sell out, run zone on the back end, and you hope Allen tries to force a throw. That's your best shot of getting a stop. But you're right. It's mostly going to be about them keeping up against the Bills D that might be missing Oliver, Milano, some of their corners. So I agree. It's Dolphins got to keep up here. A-Chain probably has a big game.
Yeah, Josh Allen's thrown 6 picks over his last 19 starts. Like that whole NFL interceptions are a bit down. So yeah, he's got to score with this guy.
Unless I have the Chiefs and it's right. Mahomes.
I mean, that's
or unless
fault,
Baker's
man.
throwing him. Baker has like 8. No one can catch a pick from Baker this year. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, Baker's stat lines are just super weird, but we can kind of talk more about that because for my first pick of the Week 3 Sunday 6-pack in the first overall, I'm gonna roll with the Houston Texans here. At the Jaguars, there's a 2.5 available at FanDuel.
I'll give it to you.
Listen, the Texans are the Falcons essentially for us. Sometimes they just lose these heartbreaking games by less than 3 points. But take a step back, as you said. Let's look at it in context instead of just only looking at their 0-2 record and some blown opportunities. The Rams are a very good football team, and the Bucs, we expected them to take a step back, but still one of the better teams over the past year and change. So this Texan team was in position to win against the Bucs. That had to drive 80 yards and convert a 4th and 10 and all this madness, and they lose by 1. The week before, they were in position to at least make it interesting. I won't say they'll win just because if they hang on to that football, but they probably do. And so you have two kind of fluky things now. The margin of error isn't great for the Texans, but they're 0-2. They're going to be hungry. And this Jags team kind of in the opposite boat when it comes to strength of schedule. So they started with the Panthers and never really gave them a fight. And then they were just fighting with themselves against the Bengals. And they just let the Bengals just kind of sleepwalk their way to a last second win. So this kind of a big step up on competition for the Jags, division game, a team they've historically struggled with. Still some kinks to work out in that Liam Cohen offense, although I do think their early returns are at least better than what it's been. But Houston still has enough defense here, which is what the Jaguars really have not been facing when you talk about Cincinnati and you talk about, of course, the Carolina Panthers. So give me Houston as a dog. I know they've been looking kind of ugly, not uninspiring, but you already mentioned all the trends. Just so many trends with these 0-2 teams, especially in division games. Almost everything's over 60%. So love the Texans. I think I have them rated as the better team still. I'm not completely on the Jags train, especially with this Brian Thomas phantom injury and Hunter kind of, still kind of figuring out how to put his best foot forward on both sides of the ball. I think it's going to take a little bit more time.
I agree with you more times than not. I'm out on this. I'm out on the Texans. I mean, the Texans. Look, last week the Falcons should have beat the Bucs. That was extremely unlucky. The Texans kind of got dominated. Like if you just like last week, the Bucs ran all over them. Their run D's been really bad. The Bucs they had in that game they had a punt return, they had a punt block. The Bucs lost were down both their tackles, and you have all pro DNs and you still couldn't win that game. That was bad. And like I was willing to give Nick Caley a pass for week one because they had all the offensive line injuries. They had to move all these guys around. Last week, they had everyone in place in their original positions. It looks like the same offense. Last year, they were at least they were even running more play action than they are this year. Their motion, they were middle of the pack last year. This year, they're second lowest in the league, 6% motion. They're 15% play action. There too many runs up the middle on first down. Like the ghost of Bobby Slowick is still here. The offensive line is not fixed. The Jags were the unluckiest team probably in the league last week that they lost that game. Now, granted, Burrow went out, but from a success rate perspective, they should have won that game. So I like some of the things they're doing with coverages in the back end. I obviously like Liam Cohen. This is a short week for the Texans as well. I'm not playing the Jags, but I would need three to play the Texans.
Sounds like an overreaction, man. I feel like it's
Well,
still
no,
the
that
Jags. Like,
overreaction would be to
lucky the
sell
defense
the.
is kind of.
I have no take. Like I'm my take is I wanted to buy into Caley, and I thought he was going to improve the play calling, and I haven't seen that. Like just looking at raw like data, like play action, the structuring of play calls, the motion, none of that is there. Until I see that, this is going to be the same offense as last year, which I can't trust. Now I'm not. The Jags could just Jags themselves,
Yeah,
as
about to say, like,
as they do.
This is where like a more nerve-wracking quarterback than CJ Stroud. Like after facing Stafford and
Stroud's accuracy
Mayfield.
too still isn't great. Like his the off target throw. So I'm not saying
Have you
I'm
seen Trevor
against.
Lawrence?
No, he is too. But I'm not saying I'm against you. I'm just saying I would need a three.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it might get there. We'll see how it goes. It was hanging around 1.5 and then started shooting up just before we recorded. So we'll see how it goes. But I have them rated better. I have no problem taking the 2+. So
BTJ injury could be big too. Like we'll see what
yeah,
happens there.
something's not right with him.
Yeah. All right. For my first pick and the second overall, the week three Sunday six pack, I'm going with the I'll keep it on brand. Go with the ugliest one possible. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns plus 8.5 is out there still against the Green Bay Packers. Look, I came into the year high on the Packers. I played the Packers in the Super Bowl back in May. They
I was with
added
you.
Parsons. They look amazing. I'm very excited about that future. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFC, but this is has to be at the very peak of their value. And we don't know that they're necessarily this great. Like they're now being priced up with like the a top three team in the league. Think about it. The Ravens were laying what 11.5 last week at home against the Browns. This is at home in a non-divisional game. The Browns are catching 8.5, throwing 1 point for home field. Like we're pricing the Packers near the Ravens now. Don't know about that.
Jair Alexander switches and it all it's weird.
So there's a chance, like, hey, week one against the Lions, they had new coordinators and they were just breaking everything in and everything was a mess. And we know LaFleur is so good in the first couple of weeks. Now, that is a concern here. Extra rest for Green Bay, LaFleur early in the season. Uh, and then week two against the Commanders, like, I'm low on the Commanders. So, like, there's a chance that everyone's saying the Packers are so great, they're crowning them already. There's a chance that they're not as good as everyone might think. And this is probably the peak of their value. Conversely, the Browns, everyone wants to sell them after last week. As a Ravens fan, I'm telling you, I watched that entire game. Now, this could happen again with Flacco. The the Browns who have played the Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, their defense has been elite through 2 weeks. I expected a bounce back this year. That's what we got. Don't be fooled by that final score. The Ravens 41, Browns 17. The Ravens had 14 first downs. They had 240 total yards. Derrick Henry had 11 rushes for 23 yards. The Ravens couldn't do anything. They had a couple like just ridiculous Lamar plays where he scrambles all around and does Lamar things and throws a touchdown. Other than that, the Ravens couldn't do anything. They couldn't run the ball. This Browns defense is playing at the top level in the league. They're same with the Packers. The Packers have been playing right up at that level. I trust the Browns' entire personnel a little bit more. Now Parsons makes it that a little bit closer, but this is still an elite defense playing at home, catching over a touchdown with a low total, buying low. I could go into all the 0 and 2 dogs, like I already mentioned, 0 and 2 underdogs since 2010, 40, 21 and 1 against the spread, 66%. The Browns should be 1-1. That game against the Ravens should have been a lot closer. I think their defense will keep them in this. Judkins looked pretty good at running back too.
Yeah.
Gives them some juice there. So yeah, I'm selling the Packers. Like I was high on the Packers. I've upgraded the Packers, and I'm still like 6-9. So you're gonna give me 8.5 here. Uh, I'm gonna take it. Lower scoring game I expect, and I'm just gonna trust this Browns defense like they did against Joe Burrow and the Bengals to keep them in this game. So give me Cleveland plus 8.5. This is just the buy low sell spot. Everyone wants to buy the Packers. Everyone, no one wants to bet Flacco after last week. It's time for me to jump in.
Yeah. We have to talk about this total because I kind of want to play this total. I'm always weary of playing unders with Joe Flacco at QB, but he hasn't been as reckless as Winston. So maybe that's my angle. But let's go to the second pick, third overall. My second pick, third overall of the week 3 Sunday 6-pack. And in your honor, I'm gonna roll with the Tennessee Titans plus 4.5 home dogs against the Indianapolis Colts. And this is another team that I just want to sell at this point in the season. It's now you're talking about Daniel Jones and the Colts as they're all of a sudden like a touchdown better than a divisional rival. And coming into the season, we thought they were all kind of bunched together anyway. So I loved what the Colts are doing with Jonathan Taylor. But I think the Titans are getting better and better. I think they're and what's important with the Titans, they're kind of shifting things up every week. So in addition to, young team, Ward is going to get better each week, or at least he should, especially at home. But you're seeing them go with more Ironman or more Chimere DK at wide receiver.
Special teams way better, by the way. They had a
Right.
punt touchdown call back last week.
Yeah. So overall, and they're kind of, I think the defense has been solid. It's definitely Callahan still, leaves some things to be desired, I think, but this is a spot where we see it all the time. These 0-2 divisional dogs, especially ones like this, where it's, we don't have a track record of elite production from Daniel Jones or anything or really this Colts team. So
the track record is he's not that good. So like you should stake to that rather than like he's an all pro. There's more of a chance that he flops here.
Yeah, and this is and another angle I love. It's happened in a few of these spots. I believe the Packers as well, right? Going on the road against a pretty tough defense, weather issues. Just could be more of a slog in this kind of spot, and that would just open up the Titans. I think you can run on the Colts here, but you look at week 3 divisional dogs, 49, 28, and 64% over the past 2 decades. Just all the reasons to kind of back the Titans here. I don't think they're anywhere near as bad as last year. And that's even with Cam Ward still producing a lot of negative plays, but he's able to produce enough positive plays that it's not like just these backbreaking
and he's not
turnovers.
Turning it over at all. Like his turnover play rate is like 1%.
Exactly. And that's the difference, because look at how he had to come out. He had to come out on the road against Denver. And I believe they hung in and covered that one too for you. And then they were in position to potentially, it looked like they could win the game at a point, in the second half against the Rams. And then
it was a 3-point game going in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it just unraveled. But
what happened was, this is the only thing that concerns me about this pick. I will 99%, I'm 99% positive I'll be on the Titans. Shocker right now. But I mean, I make this slightly under 3. My one concern, the Titans are 0-9 against the spread their past 9 home games, by the way. The Titans have been running early way too often. And Callahan comes down and he says, well, we don't want to, we want to get in non-obvious passing situations. But that's all you're doing is creating non-obvious passing situations. They're 3rd and 7 on 21 of their 31 third downs. They're averaging 3rd and 9. So like, open it up more. Now they've been afraid of the pass rushes of Denver and the Rams. That won't be the case this week. Now Latu did practice today, but the Colts are getting 0 pressure. They're like bottom 3 in pressure rate. They're getting no pressure off the edge. So I think that they'll kind of open it up a bit more. The one thing, the angle that I love in this game, this is one of my favorite angles early in the season, weeks 2 through 5. So when you get when you're still getting overreactions, a road favorite after winning as a home dog, 17-39-1 against the spread. 30% failing to cover by 6 points per game. When favored by more than a field goal, 6-16. And when the opposing team has a losing record, 11-29-1 against the spread, 27.5%. So it's a great spot. It's just like, oh, the Colts are home dogs, right? They won. Then everyone early in the season, now everyone is like, oh, look at this team. They're very good. Now I've upgraded the Colts a bunch, downgraded the Titans slowly. I'm still not above 3 here. The one thing that worries me is, and this is what happened last week against the Titans, and I had this fear with Sweat not playing, they just wore down because they were doubling Simmons, and their run D is so much worse without Sweat because you can just double Simmons, and Simmons had nothing left in the fourth quarter. And then Zeitler got hurt in the fourth quarter. They were already without Latham, and then their offensive line collapsed. And then Ward had that fumble. It led to a short field touchdown, and then the game was over. That's my fear this week because for the Colts, it looks like Latu and Ward practice today. Zeitler, Latham, Sweat, and also now Snead's dealing with another injury. All didn't practice today. That
It's
is my
Wednesday.
main concern. So, but I will most likely be on especially at 4.5 on the Titans. But like the Colts and Taylor, are they just going to wear down Simmons in this run D with that if Sweat doesn't play? Now, Sweat was off to the side. Callahan said he's hopeful, so we'll see. But I agree with you. This is the spot where you have to play the Titans. All right, for my third pick and the fourth overall of the week 3 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the New York Football Jets +7. Some sevens out there. It doesn't matter for the contest, but look, I can't. Baker Mayfield has cost me 2 weeks in a row on the last drive. But there has to be some turnover regression coming. I mean, he leads the league in turnover worthy throws, and he has 0 interceptions. Last week he even dropped the ball on the ground and they recover it. He has 6 drop picks on the year. It's getting pretty absurd. And last week, even though they got some ref help, like early that illegal hands to the face on a 3rd and long, the tripping uncalled, the Bucks have been living a charmed life. Not surprisingly, they're number 1 in our luck rankings. Make sure you check that out. This is the luck rankings play as well because the Jets should be 1-1. The Bucks could be 0-2,
Yep.
probably 1-1, and then these would be 2 1-1 teams. This line would be 4.5. Throw in a point. That's all for Fields to Taylor downgrade. That's it for me. But then throw in the fact the Bucks are on a short week. Baker Mayfield got banged up. We don't know how mobile he's going to be. He hurt his knee at the end. We don't know. So I have no idea on that. But he might not be 100%. Might not be able to scramble as much, which is important if the Jets decide to just run cover 1 and blitz again, which is not the best way to attack Baker Mayfield. But the Bucks also have injuries. Kalijah Kancey out for the year. On the offensive side, they're still shorthanded at receiver. And now Wirfs, the best left tackle in the NFL, is still going to be out, it sounds like. Hideki, their right tackle, it sounds like he's going to be out. Malk, their guard, sounds like he's going to be out. So it looks like they're going to be down 3 offensive line starters. They don't even know what they're going to do at that guard spot. And again, they're on a short week. Got to figure out the offensive line. Now, the Jets might not have Jermaine Johnson, but still, I can't get to a touchdown here. Tyrod Taylor is the backup you want in there if you want to cover like a touchdown spread. And hopefully, Aaron Glenn changes things up this week. Like their offense was so predictable, their defense was so predictable last week. He said he's going to go in and change things up, so we'll see. Tyrod can run more of the throwing because you're not really going to run on the Bucks. So I trust Tyrod to like just command the offense and then move them down the field a little. He doesn't turn it over. Also, I always talk about this. He's top 5 all time among qualified quarterbacks in the lowest in interception rate. He's also 34-21-4 against the spread. 7-3-1 against the spread when catching 7+. Just a reliable backup, and this line is too high. The Bucks defense is gettable on the back end. I just can't get to this number. This is only this number, I think, because the Jets got blown out last week. But I'm telling you, go back and watch that game. I do think the Bills really benefited from seeing the Ravens and seeing like the Lamar, Derrick Henry just burn them, and then that was like the JV version. and they just run blitz. I'm telling you, their corners weren't even looking at the pass. They were filling gaps, and the Jets had nowhere to go. And then Fields turned into who Fields is. He can't throw the ball. So like the Jets had no chance. And then they were running cover one against Josh Allen. Like, what are you doing on passing downs? And then he was just running when no one was open. So yeah, too high. Too like Bucks have been lucky. Probably hopefully some turnover regression here, some Baker mistakes who might not be 100%. And then 3 offensive line injuries on a short week. Like I know they've already been dealing with at worst. They've already moved their center to left tackle. Now you're going to have Charlie Heck at right tackle. You might have a rookie in there, right guard. You have a center who wasn't supposed to be your center. So now you're talking about like 4 guys who are at 4 positions that you didn't expect to be coming into the year. So yeah, give me the Jets catching a touchdown here. All the 0-2 against the spread trends you can think of all fit here. So yeah, against a pretty fortunate Bucks team who also has the Eagles on deck. So they might be a little bit more cautious with some of these injuries, knowing that.
Yeah, this is another one where I almost just want to play the under too. I mean, the Jets want to run the ball, and that is what the Bucks are going to be able to stop. So, but that could mean they're trying to throw over the top with Taylor, and that could have some success.
My fear is that and then the Bucks go tempo to hide their O-line injuries because they were doing that last week more so that the Jets pass rush doesn't have gas. That would be my only fear with the under.
Yeah, it's gotta look at the weather all around the league. I've seen like slight chance of rain, humidity in almost every game, and almost every game's outdoor. So you sort of just regardless of what you're doing, playing, check that out before you make a bet. But we'll get into our final 2 picks.
You agree or disagree there?
I just need to see the final injury report, but I kind of just lean the under a little more than the Jets just because I feel like now they're a high variance team. Like, I was trying to buy in on the improvement, and then it just went completely the opposite direction. So now it's like it's kind of why some week 2 spots are a little more challenging than others when you have like that. It could go either way, half and half, but I don't mind it, at a touchdown plus. I mean, the Bucks, Baker Mayfield was averaging 5.5 yards per attempt.
Their offense is not the same without Cohen.
Yeah, but it's not. So, but then again, like the Jets were it went from great plan for 1 week, and then they had nothing, and now it's a backup quarterback. So I just don't know. I just don't know what to expect. That's the truth.
I do expect at least changes.
Yeah,
so I think that's good because I think the Bills just keyed on what they did. The Bills had a great game plan, and they didn't adjust. I think that will force them. And then with Taylor in there, it's going to be new. And then I think Bucks on a short week with a bunch of injuries. I think you got to take the 7.
Yeah, I mean, it's between that and this. I'll probably go under, or maybe Jets. I don't know. Bucks team total under, Jets team total under. Some one of them. The offensive line injuries for both of those teams, and the fact that the Bucks play the run well just worries me a little bit. But the stage is set for NFL Week 3 and all the bets that come with it. Now is perhaps the perfect time to upgrade to an Action Pro subscription. It's the only way to get real-time pick alerts from myself, Stuckey, NFL prop master Sean Kerner, and our entire team of experts, plus all the tools that you need to turn a profit betting this season right now. New subscribers can get $20 off a year of Action Pro by visiting actionnetwork.com/pro and using promo code POD20, POD20. That's $20 off the full year, so you'll be covered for NFL, college football, March Madness, baseball season, the NBA season. So don't wait. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo code POD20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro. All right, for my third pick, the 5th overall of the Week 3 6-pack, I think it's on an island here, or at least not. The market seems to think differently, but I like the Cincinnati Bengals with Browning on the road, 2-0 against the Vikings. And the reason is 2 things. Number one, Browning, the 3 picks last week. That's what backup quarterbacks do. Guess what? The Vikings have one too. Carson Wentz. But Browning, what he can do, and this is why I like Penix, even though I mean they didn't really need it last week, but Browning's played well against the blitz in his career, and that is the
Did it once
key.
against Flores.
Right? Yeah, they actually had won a 27-24 game against Flores. It was Nick Mullins, but I mean Wentz could be worse than Nick Mullins. I'll get to that in a second, but I'm getting 3 points here with the Bengals, who still managed to put up 31 and come from behind. Yeah, I know the Jaguars kind of, gifted them the opportunity, but that's what you have to do. And there's always these things that kind of they come at you quick, right? And right now, I think the narrative surrounding the Vikings is a way too complimentary of Kevin O'Connell and like just not recognizing that he's human. And it's like, oh yeah, reclamation project, Sam Darnold, and oh, Daniel Jones must be doing well because he spent a couple of months in that quarterback room. But if you really look back now, and it's starting to become a trend, like Kevin O'Connell can't just do it with any quarterback. We started to see that unravel with Mullins and Hall and all those guys last year. But now let's go back to last year. Darnold, everyone loved him. Everyone's, singing O'Connell's praises. And he just shits the bed against Detroit. And okay, Kevin O'Connell, great quarterback, guru guy, whatever, already turned Darnold around to play it. Surely he'll come out with a better game plan. Same exact thing happened. They scored 9 points against the Lions. They scored 9 points against the Rams. Then week 1. Okay, it's whatever. It's rookie. 3 quarters of terrible football, a terrible, way too early field goal that could have been disastrous if it had gone wrong. With 11 seconds, you're kicking. So now you have, and then you all know what happened in week 2. So 1 of 8 quarters with McCarthy, and now you're gonna bring in Carson Wentz on like short prep, really? Because I mean, and he hasn't even been here that long, so. Yeah, the Bengals aren't great. Carson Wentz is not great either. And it's the Vikings that have been having issues offensively. The Bengals have been able to score Browning. He's been 4-3, about 23 points per game. Wentz's last 17 appearances, he's averaging barely 200 yards, 6.2 yards an attempt. Hasn't cracked 7 in a season, since like the last decade. So this guy, I just don't trust him in this O'Connell offense. I don't think this guy just has the Midas touch. They're struggling to get the ball to Jefferson. They are down a running back now. It's all going to rely on Jordan Mason. And
that might be better, though.
I mean, it might be, but now you're talking about multiple offensive line issues. Now you're talking about where is TJ Hawkinson? They signed Oliver. They got 4 tight ends on the damn roster, and they still can't free up. And CJ Ham is out. And yet they still can't free up Hawkinson for this. This is trending down, and it just might be one of these situations where even the smarter offensive minds, they go through little slogs sometimes where they just get figured out. And this, to me, this is becoming a concerning trend now for O'Connell, and he's just kind of keep your head up, we're gonna go score. And I don't know if he's actually. But there's just too many long developing routes and all these things. And then Wentz, he might overcompensate and go to too much just like RPO stuff and underneath stuff. And that will actually just help the Bengals and Browning. And I just think the Bengals have a much more explosive quarterback offense. This guy led the league in completion rate in 7 starts for Burrow. As a starter, when he comes in as a backup, he's been horrible. So that explains the 3 picks last week. I think it happened against Pittsburgh in 2023. However, as a starter in the 7 starts, 8.2 yards per attempt. So I'd rather buy low on a guy like Browning than just blindly trust O'Connell, which it seems like the market is doing. Like they're not moving off this 3. And sometimes I'm hoping a 3 and a hook pop. I'll bet this again. But I might be on an island here, but I think the Bengals can get it done here against this Vikings team that's just banged up all over the place.
Yeah, that's the way that I would agree with you on this, is taking the points because of all the Vikings injuries. Like Darrisaw, I don't know. I tried to listen to O'Connell's coach speak today, and he just said nothing over the course of 5 minutes in this. So it sounds
he's
like
he's turning into McDaniels.
Yeah.
He's turning into Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, if I had to guess, he's out, and then his backup's also out. Ryan Kelly has a concussion
Mm-hmm,
at
mm-hmm.
center, which is
He's not.
big.
He can't play because he has, I think, his fourth concussion, right? I doubt he. I
Yeah, I
doubt he
doubt
gets
he
back
plays. And then
there.
on the defense, you talk Cashman's already out, Van Ginkel, Harrison Smith, they're all like Okuda. They have a bunch of injuries on defense as well.
Mm-hmm.
So taking the points makes sense there. Why to play devil's advocate, my is like so I would have made this like a pick if they were health everyone was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And because I do respect the Vikings home field advantage, one of the few that is real. So I would make it a pick if everyone is all healthy. But and also like Addison's still out too. So then it just depends on like what you're. I know some people that just think the drop off from Burrow uh to Browning is like only like 3.5 points. I have that at like 5. So maybe I'm a little high there. Then the question, then you take into account what is the drop off from McCarthy to Wentz? I don't know. It might be nothing, like because McCarthy might be that bad. We just don't know. He had one good quarter out of 8, but part of that was the offensive line injuries. But that'll also bleed into Wentz as well. Part of that is the receivers not healthy. So
It happened to Darnold with receiver with healthy
yeah.
guys.
So but like if the Vikings were healthy on the offensive line, like then they would be able to control Hendrickson, and then like anyone can go out there and move the ball against the the Bengals defense. And then on the other side, it's like Flores will probably cook up something to make Browning make a mistake or two, and that might be the difference. But I don't know. The Vikings look like they're not going to be healthy, so I don't blame you for taking the 3. Nothing for me there yet. But for my third
I got
pick,
a stat for you. I got a stat for you. Just because you mentioned Wentz, over his last 11 starts since 2022 across like four different teams, he is 3-8 against the spread, 27%, failing to cover by 9.6 points per game.
my only rebuttal would be a couple of those games were like week 18s with all the backups.
So he should be crushing.
No, I mean, no, when his team
Carson
had
Wentz.
backups. Like last year, he started
Yeah,
against the Broncos.
he should still be crushing.
No, the crushing
Oh,
against
not
the
yeah, not.
Broncos defense with the Chiefs backups. And then
But he played like that every.
the
Okay.
year before it was the Rams. I think he started with all their backups when they didn't care. So there's some noise in there, but there it definitely hasn't been good. All right, for my third pick in the 6 overall of the Week 3 Sunday 6 pack, I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams plus 3.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't like this as much with Goddard looking like he's going to play. They really have missed him in like blocking and just in the passing game, but he did practice today. But everything that I thought about with the Eagles coming into the year, I've seen. Like, thought that the defense was going to take a step back, and by most metrics, they've been about an average unit. They're not getting as much pressure. Jalen Carter's not, it doesn't look like he's in full game shape. Fangio was talking about that yet. The second corner spot is a problem. The secondary, there's still some holes. So this is an attackable defense, and I think the Rams are fully capable of doing so. Narrative angle, revenge here from the 2 losses last week. And by the way, they went into Philly in the snow and were like 20 yards away from beating them last year. Easily could have won that game. The Rams are getting pressure without blitzing. And this, the other thing I thought about the Eagles coming into the year is that their offense is going to take a big step back because the coordinators, and this might be Brian Johnson part 2, this offense looks horrendous. And you think about it, they played the Cowboys defense that just gave up 500 yards to the ghost of Russell Wilson. And they played the Chiefs defense who got carved up by Justin Herbert, and they have issues on the back end. They still have only completed 2 passes for over 10 yards. One of them was just a jump ball Hail Mary against the Chiefs. Like that's it. 2 passes over 10 yards. Like they're giving them more pressure to. This offense does not look the same. Now I get it. They still have Barkley and they play rugby. Like I think 12% of their plays this year have been the tush push. It's getting a little ridiculous, but so like their yards per play and all that, and they're like a service academy. You can't really look at their success rate and yards per play because they're just going to get 8 yards and tush push it twice. But the offense is just not the same. There's no creativity. There's no juice to it. The Hurts just goes through these lulls, and because of that, their defense take a bit of a step back. I think their offense take a big step back, and I think the Rams are better overall. But because of that, the way because of the way the Eagles play, they're the new Chiefs. So it's not surprising that they got the tip ball and then they ended up running the clock down and they win by 3. Because there's no team that's more likely to win by 3 than the Eagles. Because if they get the ball back with like 10 to go up 3, they're going to run out the entire 10 minutes. with 3 yards, 3 yards, 1-1, 3 yards, 3 yards, 1-1. So like that works in your favor if you have the dog, and if you have the Eagles, you're like pulling your hair out because they're taking knees at the 30-yard line. Also, McVay plays conservative in these spots. He's like one of the few coaches that's still playing really conservative, which is helpful as a dog. And by the way, McVay is 18, 11, and 2 against the spread as a dog of more than a field goal. His teams always perform well on the East Coast. 14, 7, and 1 against the spread. He knows how to get them ready for these spots. Covered by about 5 points per game on the East Coast over a sample size of about 22 games. The other thing I will say here is that I have a feeling. Think about all these Eagles tush pushes when they happen, how big they are, right? It might be a 4th and 1 at the goal line. Difference between 3 points and 4 points. 4th and 1 at midfield. It might be the difference between a punt or a first down. You keep the drive going. All this discourse around the tush push. They went off. They false started 4 times last week. They were lining up illegally, I think 5 or 6 times. McVay contacted the league office on Wednesday. Every single show is talking about it. If I could bet on this, I would. I will bet you at least one, maybe two, tush pushes get flagged for false starts or offsides on the offense. They might also call a neutral zone on the defense, but I think that they're going to send a message to the Eagles that you could do this, but it has to be legal. McVay used to be on the rules committee. He already contacted the league. That's huge in the game. Like that's the difference between a drive extending and not. Maybe 4 points off the board. Give me the Rams plus 3.5.
Yeah, this is one I already bet as well, so I would have probably taken this one just to get the hook there. But I agree. I do think there's going to be some. Did you hear the interview with? I think it was in the Athletic with Patulio, the Eagles' new coordinator. They're kind of throwing like, yeah, why are you running every single time that you line up under center and pistol, and then you throw like every time you're in the gun, and and it's like you have no tendency breakers whatsoever. Now, to your point, it hasn't killed them, but I wonder if it just introduces some variance to this game, and I wonder who that benefits. Because my only thought was, man, of all times to lose Witherspoon, now is not the time because AJ Brown's probably like 5 catches is not a squeaky. Like this is the new squeaky wheel game for him. So I don't know if the Eagles' offense is just
Williams
broken
played
or
last
what.
week, and I think Williams is better than Witherspoon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but he also got benched. So it's just a weird situation. But overall, yeah, I think the Eagles are.
My only fear is like I'm selling too low on the Eagles after what we've seen. But this was my thought coming into the year, and it's been confirmed. And they lose that Chiefs game, I think, if Travis Kelce doesn't drop a pass. And I fear that the Rams have only played, the Titans and the Texans, two broken offensive lines. But I'm going to take the hook here.
No, I'm with you. So let's get it. So you got see who you got. You got Stafford. You got
Flacco.
And who's your Taylor? Stafford, Flacco, Taylor.
I'm going with the
great
oldest
2009
oldest quarterbacks in the league.
You don't want to just take Aaron
What's
Rodgers?
the average age there? 38?
Oof. You don't even have Rodgers.
What, 36? Flacco's
too long, too old. He's too old. I don't know. Tyler Taylor, I used to be like, there was like a whole different era where I used to be excited for like Tyrod Taylor starts. Now I only remember him for being in that game where Darren Waller decided he wanted to retire because since Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback, Davo just had Waller out there throwing like lead blocks as a fullback. And he seemed right about that because then Taylor like blew it at the goal line before halftime. Like they lost to Buffalo in a heartbreaker because Waller dropped like it was just out of his reach. Oh, just a horrible sequence of events as a Giants fan is what I remember.
I got it. You'll see me tweeting that on Sunday. Okay.
Oh man, yeah, but good stuff.
Wait, who you got? Who are yours?
Oh, so I got let's see, CJ Stroud, Browning, and who did I pick in the middle? What am I blanking?
Ward.
Oh yeah, and Cam Ward. Yeah, so we're going.
Wow, you're way young. The difference in ages in our quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Got by low, man.
CJ versus Flacco, Stafford, and Taylor.
I mean, hey, if we go 6-0 at this one, that would be quite the show.
I doubt
All
my
right, man.
all three of my quarterbacks make it through all three games though.